Feel the anticipation.
Countdown, right?
I think I'm 15 seconds late, actually. I'd like to bring to order the Village of Middleville Council meeting for Tuesday, August 25th, 2026. Rhonda, could we please have roll call?
Kevin Smith,
I'm here.
Robert Bishop, Patrick Hilton,
Here.
John Osterbaum,
Here.
Susan Shannon,
here.
Sandra Wake.
Here.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse the absence of Mr. Bishop.
Support.
We have a motion with support. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion to approve our agenda. Our agenda.
Amended agenda, yes.
I support.
We have a motion with support to approve the amended agenda. Any discussion? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
I move we approve the consent agenda with the approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting of August 11th, 2026. And the approval of bills as of August 20 for $282,606.
Support?
We have a motion with support to approve the consent agenda. Rhonda, may I please have a roll call?
John Osterbaum,
Aye.
Susan Shannon,
Aye.
Sandra Wake,
Aye.
Patrick Hilton,
Aye.
Robert Bishop, Kevin Smith.
Aye. All right, moving on to public comment. A limited 3 minutes per speaker is in effect. Any persons attending may comment on any subject. Please state your name and direct your comments to the chair. The Village of Middleville Rules of Procedure prohibit village council from debating or discussing issues with the public at this time. Hearing none. Moving on to reserve time. Brandon, please. And I know you're happy to be here tonight.
I am happy to be here. It's nice. I used to be here all the time, like in the late 90s and all the way through. And there was a period of time I wasn't here as often. And now I'm glad to be on the agenda to give you all a report, an update on the various great
But
projects we have.
especially tonight.
Well, yes, I'll start right with the great news. MDOT has granted the village conditional approval of let me get my numbers here, basically a $2.2 million grant for the Paul Henry Trail project. So yeah, that's wonderful news. We had looked at some recent bid openings. I was a little concerned about the budget we had prepared. And so we shared those concerns, shared the cost estimate, and they agreed, and they did find more money in the TAP program for us. Also, we still have the trust fund application before the DNR, and we're hoping for $400,000 of that, which will go towards the match. So we've got almost the 2.75 million in a little bit of match, like 149,000 in match. There might be some more for soft costs. So we'll put the whole project together, but this is wonderful. We're going to have a meeting with MDOT here. Looks like they're trying to set it up for early
Next week
October.
sometime. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, early October for that one. So that's great. Now, this will put us on a path for 2028 construction though. So we were hoping that we'd be able to pull it together to get it next year, but it'll be 2028 construction. Irving Road Phase 1 and 2 work is complete. We've got as-bills to get submitted, which we will do before the next meeting. Railroad Street and Main Street parking, B&L started on July 29th. Water main is going to be flushed tomorrow, so that work and then tested. So then once that passes, they can move on to the next phase of that work. So that's going well. Mid Villa, I've got the as-built, they're under review, but I didn't see anything. I'll get a quick memo together about accepting those. Over at the wastewater treatment plant, we're still aware of a potential issue with the corners of the existing tank. So we'll look at that. I'll coordinate with with the operator up there. When they get the sludge out, when he gets the sludge out, then we can get that done.
What's the timeline on that? We've been talking about that for,
Yeah, we are looking at, right, we
Absolutely.
thought maybe in the spring, we have to have an empty tank
yeah,
in order to get in there and reinforce, deal with those corners from the inside.
got it.
Right, yeah.
Makes sense, total sense.
We doubled the sludge storage capacity when we doubled the plant capacity, but I mean, that happens like that, right? But the flow doesn't ramp up there, so we've got plenty of additional capacity. So it does take a little while to fill up those tanks. Let's see, on the water supply expansion, Northern has been there for about 2+ weeks now. They've had a little bit of trouble with their rig, I understand, but I think they're gonna be able to complete that nearly 340-foot deep test well, hopefully by the end of this week. Then we can get it sampled, we can complete the report and the test well, get that submitted to Eagle, where they can evaluate it for potential expansion of the water supply there. The DPW building addition, Concept Design Studio has submitted 90% plans. We added our civil and landscape, a little bit of a landscape. This is gonna be a building that's gonna have access to the public. There'll be, a window, people can walk in, pay bills, do other things. So we thought a modest landscaping would be in order there. So we've got that plan, and that's before the village to consider. And Kellogg Crossing, one of a new development coming in here, we finally have the water and sewer permits. The water permit just came in today. So I say we, whatever, I mean, the village, it's not, I mean, the people are doing it, but so now they can get going on the water and the sewer. So we'll get a schedule for them, but I know they wanted to get going on that.
They're moving along pretty quick.
Yep. Yeah, they've already done some work out there, but. And then Fremont, we're working on the design of Fremont there
Oh, good.
as well. So any questions while I'm up here?
How long is that Fremont planning design work gonna take typically?
Uh,
That's a major project, so.
Right, so we have the survey, we're going through as-built and things like that as we set this out, but I believe our plan is to get this ready to bid, in the next few months is
Yep.
all. Yeah,
Yeah, we're looking at 2027 for Fremont, so.
Nice,
Yep.
okay.
right, so here it is late August, so we'd want to get, plans into Eagle, hopefully by October or so. On a schedule, something similar to that, something along those that timeline, take them a few months to review it, so then we can get it out to bid. And then have it ready for construction next spring.
Yeah, we should have the bonds back by early spring for that project, and then the DPW expansion and with that too, so.
All right, so it's not as a complex design as like the wastewater plant, for instance, or something like that. So, but we'll be able to knock that out pretty good. We're working on it right now.
Good. Brandon, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thanks for leading with the best news ever.
I know, that's great.
Without a
That's
doubt.
awesome. All right, thanks.
Ms. Getty, welcome to Middleville.
Spending a lot more time here than I have in the past.
That's where all the
Couple
cool
of
people
years.
are.
That's what I heard. So a little update from the county. We had a presentation of their annual report from MSU Extension, and Kai Gritter, who's the new regional director. Really great work that our MSU Extension does. And I think we're kind of spoiled here in Berry County. We don't realize what a treasure it is, except for if you go to other counties. Eaton County just cut their funding to their 4-H program. We got a lot of kids from Eaton County joining our 4-H, but we really have a very robust MSU Extension program offerings as compared to other places. So if you have a chance, look up their annual report. It's just packed full of data and figures. She's loves taking a deep dive into that. So I definitely encourage you to look that up. We held a public hearing on the Delton Stepping Stones project, and that is a CDBG grant application. And actually, we passed a resolution in support of that. The county is acting as the grant administrator for it. And we had to pass another, this was from July 28th. This morning, we passed another resolution because the state wanted an exact designation of what the Clark Brothers development was going to provide. So in the resolution, it had been referenced that they would be providing the match for the grant for infrastructure improvements, but the state wanted a specific number. So we passed another resolution today. A little bit redundant. We did approve a contract and fee increases for PCI. They administer the building code for almost every community in Berry County except for one. And so it does affect village residents when they go for building permits. That fee structure had not been updated in a number of years. And just like we've seen here at the village, I know at the township as well, when you don't regularly reassess your fees and then all of a sudden you say, we haven't looked at that in a long time, it is a staggering jump. And so we made it clear to them that we like incremental increases so that certainly we want to make sure that we're keeping up and that we're supporting our building code department and the staff that requires, but not a giant increase at one time. So I think they heard that and are going to have regularly cost of living type increases to the fees. Old news now, but we improved the contract for security services for Rock the Country. Rock the Country was pretty successful. Just a couple of minor instances, but we didn't have any major security issues. We interviewed 6 construction managers for the jail project. And that was a very long day. This was it was a special meeting on August 4th. Then we brought back 2 for additional interviews and we interviewed those this morning. Clark Construction and Granger. And in the meantime, last week, both contractors had a chance to tour the jail facility, got answers to their question. They came back for second interviews today. Both companies really would be good options, but we did choose Granger, felt like that they were a better fit for us. For me, the big reason that I supported them over Clark was that they have a move once plan. So with our jail and jail renovation, they determined that there's an area, really the sheriff's office area, that can be salvaged and renovated. That would be the first project, but then build everything else around it, additional office and intake space, new Sally Port, and then new housing. Then move everybody over to the new and demolish the old Sally Port and housing area. So huge project. Granger really sharpened their pencil and felt like they can get us in at or slightly below the 30 million construction budget that we expect to be working with. I was hoping, I said, and we're open to new ideas. Like if you can get us even, less than that, we will, because it's really important. It's a really important project for Berry County for a couple of reasons. Our staff, we really need to keep our corrections staff safe. First and foremost, the building is definitely has weaknesses. And then somebody brought up today, and I think it's important to remember, is that not everybody in there is hardened criminals. You could be detained for something or accused of something, arrested for something, and be innocent. These are our friends and neighbors, and everybody deserves to be safe and taken care of. Not in the lap of luxury, but it is an important project for Berry County, and you'll hear a lot more over the next several months concerning the jail project. We approved Jill Child Care Fund Plan and budget. We do that every year. We approved some grant money for the spay and neutering program for the animal shelter. We did pledge the county's full faith and credit for the Duncan Lake Intercounty Drain. And so that is pretty close to home here. It's Duncan Lake, 108th Street, and then it goes into Kent County and also includes some areas in Allegan County. So that's been quite an effort over a number of years to get that established. And then you can imagine the red tape of getting 3 counties to agree on all of that. We reviewed the county's Brownfield Redevelopment Authority policy recommendation. That's been tabled for now. There were some concerns on some of the items, so that will be in process for review. And then we approved the Canterbury Lake Special Assessment District for the Drain Commissioner's Office. A lot of Drain Commissioner work, also Crystal Lake Special Assessment. Our calendar year for the budget has been shifted back a month. We are busy transferring over our county IT, all of our systems to a new system. And so things are just taking a little bit longer. So we'll still pass a budget in time, but instead of at the end of October, it'll be in November. So that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
On the PCI increase, are they gonna do that incrementally from the start, or did they have a big hit and now it's gonna be incremental? Which one of those?
It's a fairly big hit, and it was effective August 1st.
Okay, and then they'll promise to do incremental after that.
Then there, right, yes, then there is definitely a reevaluation, a scheduled reevaluation. That being said, as far as the other hats I wear, the district health department, we did pass a 14% increase in our environmental service fees. So for the Village of Middleville, you don't do well and septic evaluations, at least on almost all of your properties, but for others in the county, there'll be a 14% increase for well and septic evaluations and permits, but also restaurant, any kind of food service permit. There's a 14% increase. And I think I've been planting the seeds of that for the last several months with the cuts from Eaton County. 50% cut in funding from Eaton County and subsequent cut from Berry County, is that there are real consequences and real life implications for those funding cuts. But we took our time. We did a study of the actual time and effort and cost for staff to evaluate things like food licenses and well permits and things like that. There was a 3-month time study done, and then a lot of comparison with similar communities. Those results of that would have supported a much larger increase than 14%, especially on some types of permits. But the desire is that we don't want to increase it too much. We want people to do the right thing and get the right permits to protect public health and safety. So 14%, and then we did add a cost of living, so those will increase incrementally with the rate of inflation. So good news. Sorry, Brandon. Brandon took all the good news.
Thanks for sharing though. That's important stuff. All right, thanks. Moving on, Mr. Beck, you better have good news.
Good evening, council. My name is Andrew Beck. I'm here on behalf of the Middleville Lions Club. Tonight, we are requesting that the village would take ownership of the 4th of July celebration. With that being said, I also have heard back from the township. They voted to support the village financially in all ways, to include like interest, inflation, such things that might come through the years. So I'll continue on with this. We can get back to some of that part. So in front of you, I have, and we can get back to this too more when I open it up. But you have copies of accounting for the past 2 years. That's what's in front of you. To pull off this event, depending on how many bands you might reach out to, or depending on how many food trucks you might reach out to, there is a minimum of 10 points of contact that needs to be made to make this happen. Those that are in the position to have made commitments to work seamlessly with the potential leadership changes. So kind of that list, Battle GR, they are our entertainment. They are the ones that put on all of the free events for the community. And then there's a band that you would contact. We have lists. I have lists, names, typically what it'll cost for each one. The food trucks, that's kind of something to talk about, because typically when a food truck goes to an event, they would pay a fee to rent a space there at the event. We just simply asked for 10% back from them. What their total take was for the night, 10% back. From the Lions Club side, those finances weren't specifically earmarked, but what we were able to do with them is use them in other ways through the community. So that would be one part that council would have to address as far as finances that come back in, because this isn't something that makes money, and yet it kind of does, as to what would happen, appropriate those funds. We also contact somebody about porta potties in a dumpster. The fireworks team, which he handles all of the paperwork at this point. We also meet with the school superintendent. The fireworks guy has his insurance paperwork. You guys end up with a packet of all of this too at the end, but specifically a packet has to go to the school. It's pretty much done on emails now. We also contact Thornapple Valley Church, as they typically are the ones that hand out the free hot dogs, right? And I mean, I heard the lowest number I heard they handed out this year free was 900, but they definitely made commitment to 2,000. So I know that they've definitely handed out 900. I don't have the exact number. For some of you that have been there though and have seen this event, how many people were there? That's a great question. 2,500, 3,000. I've heard all of these numbers. I've heard 1,500. I've heard there's not a place to park or a place to sit.
There's plenty of places to sit.
So I don't know, some of it gets pretty hyped up. What I can guarantee you though, is it's a well-attended event that we know for fact. So back to it, we also contact the emergency services. They're always welcome to be there. In the past, my family and friends, we've always cooked out, so we've always invited them for free food, for just simply being there and watching over us while we were in the days of hand lighting them. And then of course the Wanger family, we always contact them as we use 3 of their hay wagons to make our stage, and they've always brought them out to us and then take them back at the end. So that's another wonderful. So that's the 10 major points. If council was to agree to continue this legacy, there would be an expectation though that the event would remain free to the public, including parking and all of the activities, excluding which we just talked about is the food trucks and kind of how that's handled. But we'd want it to be completely free for the community to continue that, and that it would not be used in a political platform of any sorts. Even if there was like a parade added to it, we would not. Hopefully, we would like for all politics to stay out of this. Just simply a free event for our community to celebrate their freedom, our nation's freedom, and specifically our own freedoms, right? Because we are free Americans here in Middleville. The 4th of July in Middleville was reborn in the front yards of the village and has always been free to everyone. It belongs to the people of the village of Middleville. So I will end there and open to any and all questions, finances, hours, however I can assist you guys. And
Why are the Lions giving it up?
so to be completely truthful, the Lions Club has been lacking in membership. It has been a very tough struggle for all community service groups. It's been a struggle, and for that, this event is simply outgrown the Lions Club, and so for that, with the turnout, with I'm going to say with the good that's come with it, it needs to go to somebody, an entity that can handle it, an entity that will always be here for the people, supporting the people. And the Lions Club may not always be here in Middleville as a main location.
Well, here's hoping we can fill your shoes.
How many volunteers does it take to pull this off?
So currently we've done it with 3, but honestly, that's simply because one person knows a guy with dumpsters and porta potties, so he always makes that phone call. And then our other lady, she's just in with all these food trucks. She loves talking to the food truck people. I think she loves to barter, wheel and deal, and she figures out who's going to be there and who's not. And then I typically handle the rest, which I would start in February. And if I would just put my nose to the grind and get it done, you can honestly with how it is. And like, so Battle GR, the food trucks, the school districts, the Wanger family, the emergency services, they've all said, hey, we support this and we'll be here for you. So as far as making this happen, it's truthfully a couple of emails, a couple of phone calls. Hey, this is Middleville. We want to do 4th of July again. Are you guys in? Are you supporting us? Yes. Battle GR, they know everything that we want. It's the same thing we've used year after year. So it's actually really simple. They know what to bring. And in all of this, I don't have to set it up anymore. These people set it up. The people bring their things in here. They put them on, just like the porta potties in the dumpster. It comes, and after the event, they come through and they pick up their equipment. That's how it's so. When you look at it, it seems can seem extremely intimidating, but it's truthfully not. I can do it. I mean, it's really pretty easy.
This is the guy that's an expert at it. Just a few quick questions
Yes, sir.
regarding the volunteers, because that's a huge piece of this. These events are successful because of the people that are a part of it.
Yes, sir.
Do they come as a package deal with the responsibility of fireworks?
I will still pledge myself to this, and I would definitely come with it. The support that we will need will come with it. Absolutely. Nobody is getting fed to the wolves with this. We also, I remind council that we're still on a contract that next year just simply goes as planned, as it's been going. So the fiscal year that you would be taking over would be the 28 year, 2028. So 2027 is covered. We've got this. Like the next one, we could have somebody already make these connections. Battle GR simple. We deal with the owners, right? The porta potties, it's the owners. So when we say, hey, Middleville wants to do 4th of July, they already know where they were set up last year, where they're expected to set up this year. The price points are all the same. The difference between last year and this year, and I'll tell you, we had fun this year because our finances were up in the bank account. It was the 250th year. we spent an extra roughly $4,000 in fireworks. And the difference between last year and this year is a $429.63 difference. So we spent thousands, and yet our beginning numbers and our ending numbers are off by $430. So I mean, we've really tried to carbon copy year to year, which kept it easy for us as event planners and easy for the people on the ground, the doers, the workers. So it's very streamlined. I would love to work with whoever might accept the responsibility of it. I would work directly with that individual for the next couple of years to just really just make those relationships, because it's pretty easy now, to be honest. It's really down to phone calls and a couple of emails, verifications that everybody's on the same page.
I hope this video goes viral on how to plan in advance. You're a gift to this community, Andrew. I'm not joking. I am excited that this opportunity can continue and that it will go uninterrupted. I think there's some details, obviously, that we should be working out over time, but the fact that you gave us this long of a runway to talk about it, I think it will be exceptional moving forward. And I appreciate you bringing this to us. And I think that, you know, we've been supporting this for the last several years and are still committed to next year. So, yeah, you know, you bring huge value to whatever you're involved in, and I just want to publicly acknowledge that. So thanks for bringing this to us, and we'll certainly add that to our agenda.
Thank you, Council.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate all of you. Thank you.
How do we make this video go viral? That section specifically.
Give it to a teenager and tell him to put it on TikTok.
There've been a couple, council fighting with each other have gone viral, but I don't want that.
Those aren't as much fun.
Wrestling coach.
Yeah,
Moving on, Mr. Pouch.
As long as I'm not part of it.
Come on up.
Good evening, council. Mr. Pouch is not present here. He double booked himself. I am Tony Stein. I am a representative for Thornapple Kellogg Schools. I know a few of the faces here from the past, and there's a lot of new faces. I used to be the sergeant here in Middleville for about 16 years. So it's good to be back. So I bring for you the permit request for the homecoming parade on September 25th. We just had a meeting today and realized somebody said that's a month away. And we all went, oh no. So that you have the permit in front of you. There are a couple corrections that I do need to make on that permit. So the first and foremost is I understand that they asked for services and with the barricades and or policing the area for traffic control. I understand it's hard to get volunteers, as the previous gentleman stated, in the reserve program. We were 6 to 8 strong when I was running it, but people just don't volunteer anymore. It doesn't pay the bills. So we will not be asking for any police services and or reserves for traffic control. I will present to you that the barricades that I asked for, we will man them with TK staff. I will make sure that they have traffic vests on so that they are visible and give them a quick rundown on how to place the barricades, remove the barricades, and kill them with kindness. Because nobody on a Friday night or 4 o'clock or 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the evening, they're trying to get home. They just want to make dinner. They want to see their kids and they want to sit down and relax. And next thing you know, they got a detour, right? So we'll kill them with kindness.
This
So-
is good because Sergeant Ware said the school needs to ensure that they have all that. That was his comment.
Of course he did.
Yes, it's right there.
He couldn't just call me or
It is,
text me.
it is right there on the screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're
So
all right.
yes, we will take care of all that. I understand that. So if council could direct me, or I can give you the locations that we would like the barricades, or do you want me to work with Sergeant Ware and or the DPW director on placement of those barricades? Okay. Okay. So. Awesome. Other than that, yeah, it's, that's all I have, really. I try and keep it simple.
Thank you, Mr. Stein, for this and keeping it simple. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the petition for the TK Schools Homecoming Parade.
Support. We have a motion with support. Any discussion, questions?
No, it's covered.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
council,
sir.
for your time.
Appreciate it. Miss Caitlin Brown.
Hello, everyone. So Fall Fest has been talked about a lot the last couple months, and so the DDA is wanting to bring back a Fall Fest. It's they had one a couple years ago, so we're wanting to bring one back in October. The idea is just to kind of have a free event for kids to come down. We want to do like a costume contest, pumpkin decorations, potential hayrides, a lot of fun stuff. So we're proposing it to be on October 10th from 12 to 4. So just like an afternoon to have people come down and hang out by the pavilion and amphitheater for Fall Fest.
Sounds like fun.
Sounds like a great idea.
So, yeah.
No special, this is just, yeah. Perfect. All right. A motion, please.
Motion to approve Fall Fest.
Support.
Hooray.
Awesome. Thank you.
No, they didn't
All
vote
those.
yet.
She's like, I want to go home. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Well, thanks.
Thank you. Now you can go home. All right, moving on to Middleville Community Softball.
Tyler is not here. We don't see him here. Basically, they are off a week because they rained out. So he has already put on his Facebook page that they're extending out a week. He was here Friday with his paperwork. That would have already been really late, but anyway, he was here Friday with his paperwork and said, I know they'll be fine with it. So, but you guys do have to approve that amendment.
Does he?
So,
He didn't reserve any of the bathrooms or anything either,
No.
so he chose to not. So I don't know what they're doing for bathrooms or anything like that, but
Okay,
Okay.
well,
I move that we approve Middleville Community Softball, adding October 18th to the
I
schedule.
support.
any discussion? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Tyler. We didn't have any problem with it. Moving on. Veronica.
Hello. I need to reshare this screen. We have some new technology that apparently we are debuting tonight. So let me,
oh, did it kick you out?
I unplugged it.
Oh, okay. Fair
I was
enough.
trying to unplug my power cord and oops. But there we go. Okay, so I have the MERS December 31st, 2025 Annual Actuarial Valuation Report to review with you. You've invited me graciously the last couple of years to go over this, so a lot of this is refresher. But before I guide you through a few of the key tables and graphs in there, I do want to remind you of some of the actuarial assumptions and methods used in generating this report so that I can explain some changes from last year. So first of all, when somebody retires from your plan, their benefit is going to be based upon three things: their years of service, their final average compensation, and a benefit multiplier, which is a number chosen by you all. That provides their annual benefit amount, but of course, we're not going to know that until the end of their career. So we know how many years of service and what their final average compensation was. But Michigan law requires that we fund it during their working career. So we need to make some assumptions about what the liability for that benefit will be in order to fund it properly while they're working. So in this report, we use some assumptions about things like demographic things, like at what age do we anticipate that somebody's going to retire? And how long are they expected to live? So we can project for how many years we're going to be paying that benefit out. We also use economic assumptions such as wage inflation year over year. How much do we anticipate your employees' wages to increase? MERS has a standard wage inflation assumption of 3%. It's more nuanced than that to accommodate for things like merit and longevity, but it's a minimum of 3%, and it tops out somewhere around 9% for newer hires. And then one of the most influential economic assumptions that we use is the assumed rate of return, because the contributions that you and your employees make to the plan are invested in the MERS defined benefit portfolio. And we need to make a projection about how much the investment of those assets is going to return long-term in order to have enough money on hand to fund the benefits that were promised. The assumed rate of return used in the last report, the 12/31/2024 report, was 6.93%. In this one, that is one of the things that has changed. We have reduced that assumed rate of return to 6.79%. And that is because MERS, as part of our fiduciary responsibility, checks all the assumptions that we use on a regular basis. We do an experience study every 5 years and a capital markets analysis every 3 years to make sure that they're still reasonable. We don't want to assume that everybody is still, expected to live till age 75, because your plan wouldn't be funded well enough. And likewise, we have reduced our projected returns on our portfolio. That's a forward-looking assumption, so it's not a reflection of past performance, but what we anticipate being able to achieve in the future. And then two of the actuarial methods that I just want to make sure I explain before we dive into this. One is the concept of smoothing. MERS uses a 5-year smoothing in this report, and that is because when we invest the assets for your portfolio, some years the returns will be higher than what our assumption was, some years the returns will be lower than what our assumption was, and some years they're drastically different than what our assumption was. If we were to bill you on the actual returns, it would be very challenging to budget for your retirement plan, because your required contributions would fluctuate right along with those market returns. So we use what's called a 5-year smoothing, where in each year we recognize 1/5 of the investment gains or losses in the year it happens. And then we recognize 1/5 of those investment gains or losses in each of the next 4 years. And we do the same thing the next year and the year after that. And it's kind of like a rolling 5-year average that we're using in this report, so that it brings some predictability and stability to your minimum required contributions to the plan. The other thing I want to discuss is our dedicated gains policy, which ties directly to that smoothing and the reduction of the assumed rate of return that we're using. In 2021, MERS board adopted a dedicated gains policy where, in a year where we exceed the assumed rate of return by predetermined thresholds, we will recognize more of those returns in the year that it happens, rather than smoothing it all out equally over 5 years, to offset the impact to your plan's funded level and your employer contributions that's going to happen when we reduce the assumed rate of return. Because when we reduce the assumed rate of return, we're projecting that your investments are going to earn less, but the benefits that need to be paid out are the same. So that means that more contributions need to go in the plan. Using that dedicated gain policy kind of takes the sting out of that reduction. So in 2025, the assumed rate of return that had been used was 6.93. Our portfolio returned net of fees 15.25%. So we recognized more of that in the year happened, spread the remainder out over those 5 years for the smoothing. And then we were able to, they call it buy down the assumed rate of return. And in this report that we're going to look at, that assumption is 6.79%. MERS is going to do this incrementally whenever we do exceed that assumed rate of return by a high enough threshold where we can recognize more of those assets in the year that it happens. And the goal is to get that assumed rate of return down to 6.5%, and to do it in a systematic and incremental way that, like I said, takes some of the sting out of it for our employers. Okay, I have this up here, but I have copies passed out for all of you as well because some of this font is really tiny. So I'm going to dig into this report. I'm not going to go through everything in it, but I do want to highlight a few key tables and graphs in here. Please stop me if you want me to expand on anything or if I skip over anything that looks really interesting and you just want to hear more about that. So for those of you following along, I'm going to start on page 6, looking at the first page of the executive summary and at the funded ratio chart in here, which shows that in your last report, your funded level was 92%, and this year it's 94%. What I really want to draw your attention to right there is that asterisk next to funded ratio that says reflects assets and surplus divisions, if any. This is the balance in your plan, including the assets in your surplus division. So what's a surplus division? Let me explain that to you. When MERS looks at this report, and I'm going to back up a second to get to that. This report is a snapshot of the participants and the assets in your plan as of 12/31/2025. And what we do is we look at what did we project last year was going to happen in 2025 versus what actually happened in 2025. And there's always going to be a difference because there's no way we can get all of those assumptions dead on for your participant population. Any difference that there is between what was projected and funded for and what actually happened, whether it's an actuarial gain, so positive, or an actuarial loss or an unfunded accrued liability, that difference, we don't just hand you a bill for it. It's amortized over a fixed period of time each year. For your open division, that amortization period is 15 years. So any difference between what we projected and what actually happened is going to be amortized over a 15-year period. For your closed division, where there are no new employees being enrolled in that division, so we know your payroll is shrinking, we are going to reduce that amortization period by 1 year each year. Your closed divisions are currently on a 13-year amortization period. Next year, they'll be on a 12-year amortization period. The following year, they'll be on an 11 until they get to 10, and then all new layers will come on in 10-year layers. So when MERS bills you in here, when we calculate your minimum required contribution to the plan, the goal is for your plan to reach 100% funding at the end of your existing amortization periods. That's the minimum required contribution that we're going to talk about in your plan here. If all you paid was that minimum required contribution, yep, you're going to be fully funded at the end of that 15-year amortization period because that's your longest one, right? If your plan is less than 100% funded, we're going to bill you more. And if your plan is over 100% funded or really close to 100% funded, we'll bill you less, but you're still going to be fully funded in 15 years. So a surplus division are assets that are contributed to the plan. They're invested right alongside everything else. So they returned 15.25% last year net of fees. But we don't factor them in when we calculate your minimum required contributions to the plan. So it acts kind of like making a payment towards principal in your mortgage. Because for most folks, if you have a $1,000 a month mortgage and 1 month you have an extra $200 to put towards that mortgage, the goal is not for the next month's bill to only be $800. The goal is for that $200 extra to go to the outstanding obligation and to continue paying that $1,000 a month. It's kind of what making your additional voluntary contributions that you have been making into a surplus division does for your plan. It brings your funded level up but we're going to continue to bill you at the same rate as if you hadn't made those contributions. Those
Until we're full, right? Until we're fully funded?
Once you're fully funded, and at any point before the time you get to fully funded or after, what you do with those surplus dollars is up to you. You can distribute them amongst your existing divisions to bring one or both divisions up to 100% when you have enough in there. Some of our groups actually like to leave kind of like a rainy day fund amount in the surplus fund because there will be future volatility, right? Folks living longer than projected, investment returns coming in less than what was projected, employee raises being higher than what we projected. There's always going to be some difference. So if you have those dollars still remaining in your surplus division, you don't have to necessarily amortize any difference out over 15 years if you can pay for it all at once. So I'll show you as we go through where you can see the difference, where those surplus assets are counted, where they're not counted, how much they are, and how they're going to help you, help your plan achieve full funding more quickly.
We're almost there.
Okay.
You're welcome.
So skipping ahead to page 7, I'm going to look at the required employer contributions. And again, these are the minimum required employer contributions. The village has been paying a little more than this, which is wonderful. We do encourage all of our employers to do that. You'll notice that you have multiple divisions. But last time I was here, we discussed consolidating some of those divisions that had retirees only in them, and we did that. So you'll still see the full list of divisions. But next year when we look at this report together, it'll just be the 2 divisions. Those they're still showing now because we always compare to what there was last year. So you'll notice that for Division 1, if you compare the monthly dollars based on projected payroll column for January 1, 2027, it looks like it's significantly more than last year, but that's because it's actually paying for Divisions 2, 10, 11, and 20 as well in 2025, whereas in the 2024 report, each of those divisions had their own dollar amount. Division 12 is your open division. That's the division that new employees are being enrolled in. So that is actually billed as a % of payroll so that what you're paying into that fluctuates with your payroll appropriately. And you can see there's a slight increase year over year from January 1, 2026 to what you will be paying in 2027. And I'm going to keep moving on ahead. Stop me if you need to. The only division that has any active employees enrolled in it is in Division 12, and they are paying 4.5% of payroll. That number does not fluctuate year to year. That is determined by you. I'm going to scroll ahead. I do believe that this executive summary has a lot of great information, but I covered a lot of it in my kind of preamble here. So on page 9, the section comments on asset smoothing, I just want to point out, I've highlighted on here that this smoothed or actuarial rate of return in this report is 8.18%. So that's what was credited to your investments in this report, whereas our actual market rate of return was 15.25%. And that difference is again because of that smoothing in the implementation of our dedicated gains policy. Scrolling ahead to page 11, we're just going to look at the first section in this table because it uses the 6.79 assumed rate of return that this report currently uses. The bottom 2 rows are using more conservative rates of return if you wanted to look at it from that perspective. And in this table, you'll see your assets without those surplus assets included. So if we look along the top row, 2025 year for your fiscal year beginning in 2027, you can see your actuarial accrued liability of 2.9+ million. The valuation assets set aside for them. Those valuation assets do not include the assets that are in your surplus division. I'll show you where those are later. And using that, we come up with an 88% funded ratio for your plan. That is what you are being billed as if your funded level is. Remember I said you're making those extra contributions, like putting them towards principal in your mortgage, and we're still paying you or billing you as if you had not done that, that's where you can see that difference right there. Another thing I want to point out is if you look down that funded percentage column, you can see that your funded percentage, funded level, is projected to decrease next year before it begins to tick upward. And the reason that there is a projected decrease in there is because of that 5-year smoothing. 2022 seems like a really long time ago, but it's still within that 5-year smoothing. And in 2022, at that time, our assumed rate of return was 7%, but the market actually returned 10.61%, excuse me, negative 10.61%. That's a large difference. At the same time, the S&P 500 returned more than negative 18%. So relatively speaking, it wasn't too bad, but it's a hit. And we felt it in the 22 report, 23, 24, this is the 25 report. And we'll see it in next year's report too, as those losses are smoothed in. Now, if we exceed our assumption, like we did this year, if we exceed 6.79% next year, you may not feel that. That dip may not happen, but it is what is being projected right now. And then you can see your estimated annual employer contribution likewise projected for the next 5 years. Skipping ahead to the graph on page 12, this takes those numbers we were looking at and projects them out even further. And it also adds in the dotted blue line, which includes the assets in your surplus division. So the numbers we were just looking at on the last table are reflected by the solid blue line. That's no surplus division assets included. And if you look at the dotted blue line, you can see, if you follow that across, it is projected to intersect with that 100% funded level much sooner than the solid blue line is. And that is assuming, or I should say, it is not assuming that you make any additional voluntary contributions to your plan. If you continue to make additional voluntary contributions to your plan as you have, you can increase that trajectory and you'll be anticipated to reach 100% funding even sooner. And like I said, when you get to the point where including your surplus assets, you're at above around 100% and you want to restructure them and distribute them amongst the participant divisions, you just need to send us an email and say, this is what we want to do, and we'll take care of it for you. The graph below that, that is the estimated annual employer contribution to get to the point we talked about in the graph above. Again, that solid blue line does not take into account any surplus assets in your plan. So we're looking at, you're projected to get up to 120, 125,000 at the peak there. You wouldn't need to do that because you could start using some of those surplus assets at that time. Okay, moving ahead to table 1. Table 1 looks at those employer contribution rates that I gave you a couple pages ago, and it breaks down how we got there. So here you can see where we consolidated all of your closed divisions into one. So you've got that general division. You'll see there's no total normal cost associated with that division, and that's because the total normal cost is the projected cost for employees in that division to earn 1 more year of service under the plan. That division doesn't have any active employees in it. However, Division 12 does. The total normal cost is projected to be 9.32% of payroll. The employees are contributing that 4.5% of payroll, which is subtracted from the employer's obligation for that total normal cost, bringing your share down to 4.82%. There is no unfunded accrued liability in that division. I'll show you in a minute. That division is actually slightly overfunded. And so that brings your employer contribution to that 4.82% for your plan. Table 2 is just a summary of the benefit provisions that are in place for each of your divisions. As a reminder, your open division is Division 12, which is on page 15. The benefit multiplier for that division is 1.5%. So when I shared that formula used to calculate somebody's benefit earlier, years of service times their final average compensation times the benefit multiplier, That number is 1.5%, and that was chosen by you. 10-year vesting, folks are eligible to file for retirement at age 60. There is an early reduced retirement option, but most folks don't take that unless they have to because the reduction is real and it's permanent. It's 0.5% for each month below age 60. Final average compensation. Most folks think that means your final 5 years of wages. It is not necessarily. It is your highest 60 consecutive months of wages, regardless of where that falls within your career. The employee contribution is 4.5%, and you have adopted Act 88, which means you do recognize service from other public sector employers to achieve vesting under your plan. It does not increase the benefit that they would receive under your plan, but it could help them become vested in that benefit sooner than 10 years of employment with you. Say if they had 2 years of an employment at another municipality, then they would come over here and they would only need to work 8 years in order to become vested because you're recognizing their other public sector service. Table 3, participant summary. I am scrolling down to the very last row in that table, which is the total for your plan. So you have more active employees than you did last year. So the first column is going to be for 2025, and then the dollars associated with it for 2025. The next column is 2024. So you can see in 2024, you only had 12 employees on the payroll. This year it's 15, but again, we bill you as a percent of payroll. So what you're paying into the plan is reflected accurately. I also want to point out, as we look over the last couple of columns, you can see their average age, their average benefit service, that's how much service they have under your plan, and their average eligibility service includes service that they have under another MERS 401A plan. And just like I talked about Act 88, that means that the village would recognize service under another MERS plan for achieving vesting, but it does not increase their benefit amount with you. So you can see that some of your employees have worked previously at other employers under a MERS plan. There are the 4 categories of employees. There are those active employees, self-explanatory, vested former employees. Those are folks who no longer work for you, but they're not age eligible to file for retirement yet. And we do anticipate that they will file for retirement as soon as they are age eligible because the benefit does not increase and we do not pay retroactively. 14 retirees and beneficiaries, it's a fairly steady population you have there. Pending refunds, those are folks who used to work here, made employee contributions to the plan, but they no longer work here and they left before they were vested in the plan. So unless they come back to work here or are able to coordinate vesting through service at another MERS employer or public sector employer because you have adopted Act 88, at this point, there is no obligation towards them except for a refund of their employee contributions. If they are able to coordinate vesting and become vested in the future, then the benefit that the village would pay them would just be based upon their time here. Table 4 is interesting only in that it reports the market value of assets. So the actual dollars in your plan, not including the smoothed rate of return, but including actual market gains and losses. And we do track those dollars in an employer and retiree bucket and an employee bucket separately, because until an employee retires, when they leave employment with you, they always do have the option of giving up their future benefit and taking a refund of their contributions. Table 5. I'm going to look at the last row in Table 5 because it's for this year. So for 2025, your minimum required employer contributions were $71,663. In addition to that, the village paid another $14,892, and employee contributions totaled $41,831. The investment income credited to your plan is credited at that smoothed rate of return of 8.18%. And then you can see the benefit payments that are going out. And as your plan matures, and if you look up that column, you can see that the benefit payments going out have been increasing year over year. Okay, table 6 is where you get to see the dollars in your surplus division. So on table 6, we're going to look at the same categories of employees that we looked at in table 3, and we're also going to break it down by division. So for your general division, there are no active employees in it. There are a couple of vested former employees. Most of the liability, over 2.4 million, is for the existing retirees and beneficiaries. A couple of pending refunds, like again, those are those employees who left before they were vested. And so you can see the total liability, the valuation assets set aside to pay for them, and that individual division has a funded level of 85.2%. Division 12, same thing, except the funded level for that is 104.2%. They're not too skewed. If we were looking at 30% and 125%, I might suggest transferring assets from one division to the next, but something like that, it'll resolve itself. You weren't overfunded in that division last year. It's likely because somebody left and you were making contributions towards their benefit and they left before they were vested. So there's no liability for them anymore. But there you see your surplus division. So you can see in your surplus division, you have $171,316. And as I mentioned before, at any point in the future, if you want to transfer those assets into one of those divisions, you can do that. That's usually as deep as I get into this report because it goes really weedy. But if there's anything else you'd like me to expand on or touch base on that I skipped over, I'm happy to do that or answer any questions.
It's a very thorough report.
It is. And we only touched on about a third of it.
The smoothing is, when you discuss smoothing, that's not just reporting, you actually, it's not a reporting technique. You are accounting for and structuring the returns based on that practice.
It's used in this report to calculate the smoothed rate of return is used in this report to calculate your plan's funded level and to calculate the minimum required employer contributions to it.
It's just for that.
Just for that.
Okay.
So when we looked at table 4 in there, and I said that's interesting only that it shows the market value of your returns, those are the actual dollars in your plan. And there's really not that much of a difference right now. If we have a lot of past losses, like in 2022, fast forward to 2023, okay, there was a big difference between the market value of assets, which had felt the full impact of those negative returns, and the smoothed value, which had only felt 1/5 of the impact of those negative returns. As we get closer to having all of those losses from 2022 smoothed in, you can see that the market value of assets and the actuarial value of assets are really, really close. It's like 1 point.
It's predominantly meant to just create a minor skew in what we use for funding. I got it now.
Exactly. It's for
This was the-
stability and budgeting.
The last time this was explained was when we were smoothing out 2020, and trust me, that was a nightmare. That conversation lasted way longer than it should have, so I appreciate that. All right, I understand now.
Very good. Any other questions?
This was great.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Good.
Appreciate you coming here, and God bless you for this.
Very
I'll be
thorough.
back next year if you can stand it.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was really great. And it's important, and we've been, in terms of funding levels, I mean, I think if you look historically, we've really made an effort to be near fully funded, and I think that's been
I think your attention to following your plan's funded level is wonderful. And yes, I think that you've made some very fiscally responsible decisions on your plan in past years and with the surplus division and everything. So yes,
Yeah.
you can tell you're paying attention.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Great conversations, Greg.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, moving on, Mr. Powers. And thanks for testing our new technology. That was fantastic. So
Thank you, Veronica.
Worked well.
See you soon. Yep.
So unfortunately, none of this information has been smoothed. So before you is resolution 2613 and directing placement of no parking signs on designated village streets. This was discussed 2 meetings ago, being the last meeting of July, per the village council, when they adopted the ordinance that is a companion to this, being ordinance 2149. It directs where the no parking would be, the signage would be potentially proposed along with the streets limiting the parking. Happy to go into details. This has been discussed. It's been approximately 3 years in the making. Certainly anything I can do, fill in any blanks, comments, questions, concerns.
It looked good and very thorough.
I'll move to adopt resolution number 2613, directing placement of signs restricting parking to one side of the street on designated streets within the village.
Support.
We have a motion with support. I'm sorry. We have a motion with support. Any further discussion, questions, concerns? It's very straightforward and something I think has been coming a long time. So, all right. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Patrick Hilton,
Aye.
Susan Shannon,
Aye.
Sandra Wake,
Aye.
John Osterbon,
Aye.
Kevin Smith,
Aye. Motion carries, by the way. Moving on to ordinance 2150. I apologize, we're 2614. I'm skipping ahead.
Yes, so this is a resolution 2614. Staff recommends that the village council approve the proposed resolution establishing revised compensation rates for members of the planning commission and zoning board of appeals. The proposed compensation rates are planning commission $85 per regular or special meeting, planning commission committees being $55 per committee meeting, zoning board of appeals being $85 per meeting. And if you recall, this was originally presented and discussed at the June 23rd meeting, where council requested me to work with legal counsel in drafting this proposed resolution.
I have a question.
Sure.
What's the difference between the planning commission and planning commission committee?
So the planning commission has regular scheduled meetings at least once a month. They do have some special meetings and joint meetings as well. However, committee meetings consist of site plan, ordinance, and the joint planning. They're typically they may be set up for like one specific item, so they can vary significantly in length, where each of the planning commission meetings may have an abundance of items, just depending what's needed. So the timing can be more or less at the committee meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2614, a resolution to increase compensation rates for planning commission and zoning board of appeals members and have increased compensation beginning effective September 1st, 2026.
Support.
Any further discussion or questions? When was the last time this was amended?
In the year 2000.
Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure we get that on the record.
Yeah, because we're going viral with this one, so.
We're going viral. All right, hearing no more discussion or question, may I please have a roll call? Rhonda?
Patrick Hilton,
Aye.
Susan Shannon,
Aye.
Sandra Wake,
Aye.
John Osterbon,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Kevin Smith,
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to 2150.
So the ordinance 2150 has been working quite some time. We've been trying to update the zoning standards to coincide with some of the future land use information, along with some proposed zoning districts that have been approved. So this consists of the adopting some new language that would allow for signage regulations within those districts, along with clarifications on items such as banners and feather flags, temporary signage, prohibited signage, handful of other things that are listed on here. Happy to answer any comments, questions, concerns about this.
I do have a potential concern. In section 4, amendment of section 78-628 of the zoning ordinance, under item number 11 down there, it says obscene and offensive signs. Didn't we just go over that to remove offensive? Is this,
So the previous ordinance was to adopt the 3-point test to determine what was offensive or obscene in regards to it being able to be regulated
I believe
accordingly.
the wording on that was obscene, because there are legal standards for obscene. Offensive is not a legal standard. So my question would be, I believe that was what we were talking about when we were talking about the First Amendment thing.
That's correct.
And I think, wasn't the recommendation to remove offensive because there was no legal standard for it? This just feels like two ships passing in the night, like we addressed something and then there's old verbiage in something else that we're addressing, and I don't want to go backwards. Oh, sorry. If you go to page 31.
So it would be ordinance 2146 that you are referencing. Give me 1 second. I don't know if you have the ability to pull that up under.
Yep.
I'm looking at scrolling. So according to that, it says obscene or offensive sign to read in its entirety as follows. Obscene sign shall mean any sign that contains statements, words, or pictures of an obscene character which the average person applying contemporary community standards would find taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest, depicts or describes in a patently offensive way sexual conduct specifically defined by the applicable state law and taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. That is the definition. It was listed as obscene or offensive, but you are correct that looking at the definition, it only explains obscene.
So we never really, we clarified the language, but never
It's-
changed.
It's
the
before you
ordinance.
now, because that was part of the ordinance. Both terms were left in there, but the offensive is not defined.
Fine.
So when we have ordinances that do not have a definition and aren't general knowledge, it certainly would be challenging to be able to enforce that ordinances.
So my question would be, why have that language in there?
Yeah. I would say table it until it gets fixed.
Can we
You don't need-
approve it with that being adjusted? So he doesn't have to wait another month to bring it back?
I mean, it could certainly be, approved without that in there. And I can reach out to the attorney if there is an explicit reason as to why that language was left in there, and
You could either do that, or if you chose to not take any action at all, we could bring it back when it's completed also.
Yeah.
I would not, I would
I'm fine.
hesitate to vote to table it.
I'm fine with passing it with the stipulation.
Okay, very good.
So you're making a motion?
I'll make the motion, yeah.
Okay.
Worded appropriately, Rhonda? I don't know how. to
Well,
put
what
that.
section is it in? Can't we just say, Doug, that section such and such, we remove the word offensive?
Yes.
Section
Mm.
4, yeah.
Right, and we just put that in the motion? That's okay? And then we can just adjust that document before
Yeah.
Kevin signs it.
There's no issues with ordinance 2146, being that that was dealing with the previous section, what was before you, correct?
The one that you just read us?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that that was that was written by our attorney and approved by the board, so, yeah. I hope not. That'd be a lot of money for nothing. But in this particular case, I think it makes sense. I think it's in alignment with all of that, so. Okay. We have a motion. Did we get support for that motion?
Support.
Okay, very good. We have a motion with support. Any further discussion?
Good catch.
Yeah, really good catch.
Sandy, I got Sandy as a second on that, by the way. She beat Pat.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. All right, roll call, please.
Want anybody to question my minutes in 2 weeks? Susan Shannon,
Support. Yes, aye.
John Osterbon.
Aye.
Patrick Hilton,
Aye.
Robert Bishop.
Aye.
Sandra Wake,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Powers. Moving on to Mr. Stolzenberg.
Good evening once again. You've got a copy of my report. Obviously updated better news with Paul Henry Trail Bridge reconstruction update. Really delighted with all the work that Williams and Works has put into it and all the time and energy. I mean, it's been basically since I started this job. I mean, it's been like 3.5 years I've been working on this stinking thing, and probably gonna be another 3.5 years before it's done. I don't know, but hopefully not, but that's where we're at. Just a reminder, budget workshop before our regular meeting, September 8th.
That's the next meeting, by the way.
The next meeting. Yep, so 5:30 budget workshop before our regular meeting at 7. With the council's interest in supporting more events and things like that. I'm gonna work with President Smith and then with Doug and Caitlin to help propose some additional bodies I think are needed in order to support those activities. They're already kind of busting at the seams as it is with work right now. So if we can get them some extra help, I think it's warranted. So that'll be, we'll discuss that and propose some additional bodies, at least maybe bodies. So. Unless anybody has any questions.
Do we have a list of volunteers? When we had the event downtown, there were a lot of people who walked up, said they wanted to get on a list of volunteers. I don't know, did they ever contact you?
We do have a list. You can sign up on our website.
Oh, okay,
For the DDA specifically.
very good.
A lot of those things are, good opportunities for elected officials, get out, especially it's an election year, But, as is with a lot of things, when election years go away, the volunteers tend to go away too. So it's, hopefully there are communities that do things, a variety of different ways. Some communities have paid staff that, coordinate all that stuff. Some communities rely solely on volunteers, so it's really up to the council what they want to see and what they want to support. So. All right, thank you.
Mr. Powers.
So there's been the 36 State Street, they have engaged with architects, so there is some movement there. I'm anticipating site plan soon, but have not seen them. I'm sure you all recall the grand opening from McDonald's, as well as the Mid Villas gotten their final occupancy permit. Last month, we did have 55 volunteers that participated in DDA committee meetings, events, or the One Middleville discussion. Good amount of things going on. If there's any questions, anything you'd like me to go into more detail about, we're happy to do so.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well done. Excellent.
All right, thank
Any
you.
questions, concerns? Mr. Powers?
Thank you.
Excellent, thanks.
Can I ask, do we have a contact phone number for Morgan at the Berry County United Way?
Yeah. It's really, I'll, email's best for her and I can get it to you.
Okay.
How we doing?
Mr. Ricker,
How we doing?
welcome.
Good. So you, I'm assuming you looked over the activity log. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to entertain those. Again, just pleased to report that most people have been super cooperative. I came back to the office today all smiles because I had seen progress on a couple things that I had sent out last week. So that's really nice. You know, as always, we have a few people who are dragging their feet, but I think that's probably normal. We set a committee meeting for next Thursday morning for the ad hoc ordinance committee. Some things we'll be talking about. I know you're going to moan, but we need to revisit the RVs. Sorry. Just based on some things that I've seen, I think there's time to talk about that again. Cars parked in yards. I've gotten some complaints on that. So I think it's time to maybe address that. There's no such ordinance that prevents you from parking in your front yard. And there are some times that it's kind of unsightly. Commercial vehicles, I've already talked to you about that several months ago. There's an issue with the ordinance. You can't park your camper in your front yard, but it's okay to park your commercial vehicle there. That is just an inconsistency in the ordinance that we need to fix. Another thing we talked about today was work trailers. There really isn't an ordinance covering where you can and cannot park work trailers, you know, like the big enclosed trailers. And some of those are the same size as a small RV. And as I said today, I think sometimes more unsightly. So something else we need to be thinking about. Anybody have any questions or comments? Kevin, your wheels are turning.
Well, I'm just worried about how new your walking shoes are when we implement this. Parking on one side of the road.
Yeah, no, I'll be okay. Well, and you know, quite frankly, the people in those subdivisions, they realize it.
Mhm.
I've communicated with a couple people via email within the last 3 weeks. You know, mostly it's because I tagged them for something and they said, yeah, but, you know, but it's valid. I mean, they realize that when you park two cars,
Yeah,
you
can't
cannot
drive.
get through, and they get that. So it was actually nice to be able to reply to that and say, well, the village just passed an ordinance that says we can put up no parking signs. So that's real.
Yeah.
That is a real issue. And it's not just for emergency vehicles. I mean, if you've got a Ford F-150, you're probably not getting through
Yeah.
in some of those subdivisions, Misty Ridge particularly.
Yeah.
So it's necessary.
Yep.
Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, well, as I say every meeting, if you see something that you think I haven't addressed, please feel free to let me know. I don't always catch everything. I try to keep a sharp eye out, and I do go around the village once every week. Second time I'm here, I usually just go and check on a few things. But if there's something that's bothering you, please shoot me an email and let me know, and I'll go take a look.
Excellent.
Well, can I just, for a quick question?
Sure.
As far as parking in the front lawn, I agree it's unsightly,
Mhm.
but there are a number of homes where maybe there are 6 or 7 cars in
Mhm.
the family and they are gone during the day when they're working
Mhm.
and then they're all back there at night.
Mhm.
What are their choices?
Yeah, exactly. And it's something that we need to discuss. I mean, I personally have a single driveway and 3 vehicles, you know, so during the summer, I don't have a problem. In the winter, I got a problem because I can't put them on the street. So yeah, it's just something we need to talk about. You know, if I'm out of line, please stop me, Kevin, okay? But one thing that I would suggest is maybe it's okay to park on the side, you know, like we're suggesting for RVs, right? You can put your RV on the side of your house, but you can't put it in the front yard. Maybe we suggest the same thing for cars. You can put it to the side of your house on the yard, but not in the front yard, right? Not in front of the house. Something to think about, right? So we're giving people an option, right? But in that instance, should we decide to do that?
Yeah,
But
there are a lot of communities with a side yard is pretty strong.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and one of the things that
if you take a ride around the village and you look at where RVs are or where trailers are or whatever, everybody's topography is different. And there are a lot of instances in campers, let's say, people can't completely comply because if they do, it'll be down the hill, right? So Misty Ridge and Misty Ridge especially, Rolling Oaks to a certain degree, depending on where the house is. But Misty Ridge especially, it's very difficult to get an RV completely behind the front, imaginary front line of the house without it rolling down the hill. So anyway.
My concern with parking towards the side yard is how much are we gonna pave? Because.
Right.
Because we have grass requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And now if you're gonna say, well, I know the house there's the house just down the road from me that it's 6-7 cars at night,
Mhm.
and then they all go away for the day.
Mhm.
But if you're saying they gotta park in the backyard, that driveway needs to go around the back.
Mhm.
But then now we're talking about.
Being very close.
Side yard offsets
Mhm.
because it's only a 7-foot side yard that they've got. And if you're talking an 8-foot wide car path,
Right.
Now we have other ordinance.
No, for sure. And how close do we want, it's the same thing with RVs. How close do you want that RV to your neighbor's property? How close do you want that car to your neighbor's property?
Well-
Right? So there are a lot of things to consider.
And
That's messy.
other things to consider is why was that offset there?
Right.
The offset was there to be able to drive a fire truck back there or an ambulance.
Yep.
Well, if we're parking RVs there, that defeats that purpose.
Yep.
So to go to the people of the village and say, we have a new set of rules, I would like to very much come up with a plan where we don't do something stupid.
Yeah, I totally agree. But like if you look at the RV ordinance, as it says right now, that's where your RV is supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, there's a lot to think about and a lot to discuss. And you certainly don't want to paint yourself in a corner. And we certainly don't want to get a situation where we can't get an emergency vehicle where it needs to be. But you guys are all right. People's lots are small in some of the instances.
Well, and that would also mean that people can't have like fenced in backyards.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that's a problem too. Again, if you drive around the village and look at where RVs are, a lot of them are backed up to somebody's fence because they got a fenced in backyard. So everybody's situation is different in terms of what they have to work with on their property.
I just wanted to point those things out for the record, so when people are thinking about them at home.
No, everybody's situation is different, 100%.
And I would almost, to add to that, the cars that are coming home at night and leaving in the morning aren't necessarily as bad as, say, the 4 cars in the front yard that are being worked on because the motor's been removed from the front of the car and it's inside their garage. Like those are the kind of scenarios that really are problematic and more frequent than I realized. So
a lot of things to think
about.
A lot
to think about, for sure.
Yeah. And I think philosophy wise, we have to think about why do we have this in place? Why are we enforcing this? Not that we shouldn't, but what is our philosophy, right? And what are we going to really dig our heels in and say, you cannot do this? So
Definitely a good discussion.
we'll meet next week, and then next time I see you, we'll have a report.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you, Mr.
Have a good one. Yep.
Appreciate it.
I'd also like to say, sorry,
No.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say Morgan's email is morgan@bcunitedway for berrycountyunitedway.org.
Did you have something else for me?
Sort of,
Go ahead.
in pertaining to you.
Okay.
This is information for people of the village. The other thing is if you have a problem that the solution is to violate one of our ordinances, go ahead and call or email Mr. Rickert to let him know, because like the Republic ruined my dumpster, but the solution was to leave it on the side of the road. Just send an email. The village is easily accommodating for things like that where,
For sure.
it's gonna be a week before I get a new dumpster, but I still need to take the trash out to somewhere where they can pick it up.
Right. And communication is key.
Yeah.
Because we do have that caveat in it's not a caveat, I guess, but we do have that provision in our code enforcement policy that says if you are working with the resident, then that I don't want to say it prolongs the process, but I don't have any better way to say it. that it's
Yeah,
but
there's a grace.
communication.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's grace.
Yeah, it's grace. That's a great way to say it. Yeah, so communication is super important and so helpful.
And your contact info is right on our website.
It is.
Yes.
Yep. And every time I send a letter, I put a business card in there so they know how to get a hold of me. And it's on, anytime I tag something, the village phone number's on there.
Very good.
So, yep.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
I just wanted to point out the government isn't always out to get you. You can work with us.
Yes.
Thank you for that, especially after last week.
JD?
Good evening. Per usual, Brandon covered half my report, so. Lead service replacements are going pretty smooth. They should be done hopefully by the end of next month. The new leaf vac arrived last Friday, so that will be waiting to be used this fall. And we're getting some sidewalks repairs throughout the village. So other than that, pretty cut and dry.
I have something for you to give you one more thing than Brandon. Is the building that's missing next to Railroad Street.
Oh, that's on here too. That is gone.
There you go. I just want to make sure you mention that.
And it should be, it should be, I think they should be seated. If not, I'll check into it, but yes, it is gone. Foundation's gone, filled in, black dirt, so.
I thought we were gonna put a pickleball court right away. What happened? Just gonna start
I thought
putting
that
it in.
I thought the construction crew was gonna be right behind the
Craig promised
bulldozer.
it. I don't know what happened.
Oh, I did not promise that.
See what happens when I'm missing? All the cool things happen. All right. That's great. Thanks, JD. And you might as well hang tough, man. I think you're kind of coming up next. All right.
Liaison reports.
Did anyone liaise? I feel like I did.
LDFA.
I did have the LDFA.
And DDA.
I did do the DDA. The DDA was another one. Yeah.
Don't
Good
be a
thing you have all the
lazy liaison.
support.
Well, there, allow me. Let me get to that page. So the LDFA, we discussed the fund balance, which is roughly $1.4 million. And I think we talked about moving a portion of that into the Michigan class investment so that it would earn interest. So that's always a positive move. We're talking about State Street, the well field that we talked about with, which Brandon already covered. We did discuss briefly about potential of having to annex the land or get an easement from in order
Bradford
to-
White.
From Bradford White. And it was brought up, so I have to bring it up. We touched on the roundabout for the strangest intersection in Michigan. That might be an option and potentially could be a LDFA funded project. So put your thinking caps on with regard to that horrible intersection and the work that could be done to make that a much better place. So, and we could lean on the LDFA. For
Which
some-
horrible intersection?
The one that's, the one that where you draw a straw and then go
Yeah.
floor it.
Put on the right-hand blinker.
Yeah, you gotta put your right-hand blinker on to hopefully let the people know to go through.
Where you're also, you're a driver, but also a traffic cop at the same
Yeah.
time. We met with the design committee. There was a lot we covered during that meeting. There's an interesting, we're coalescing on particular zones. We talked about a lot about the river being a primary focal point of the village and how we have a huge asset in the downtown parks. We talked a little bit about the train depot and about activating that as either a private building or somehow activating it for other purposes.
Yeah, we did a walking audit the month before.
And we did,
kinda
yep.
Went over those results.
You can liaise for that. I'm good with that too. During that walking audit, we had a lot of ideas thrown out. And Doug had put together a sheet with regard to creating some priorities, where we wanted to spend our time, effort, and energy. Partnering with other organizations like the TAPRC for, because the TAPRC has just recently dusted off a number of park plans that, and one of them is the west or the east bank of the Thornapple River here. So there's a lot of things in motion, and it's going to be very interesting when all those things come together for discussion, and a lot of really great improvements in terms of leaning into the downtown and the river, again, leaning into the asset that we have in the river. The train depot was also an interesting conversation, and I think something that's going to require a lot of careful consideration before we just throw it up for a vote as to whether or not we're going to release that into the wild or not. Because that's a pretty cherished asset, albeit just sitting there. We haven't really showcased it for any particular reason, but I think there's a lot going on in there. And I think that's, I mean, that was a 3-hour meeting. So those were the main points that I took away from it. So yeah, that was my liaise. JD, please. Let's continue to move on.
Hopefully this can be pretty short and sweet.
I believe so.
So revisiting the Vector. I went and looked at use options per council's recommendation. I'll kind of start from the bottom and work my way up. The 3 to 5 year range, there's not a lot out there. What I did find is I found a 2022 Vector, which is a different brand than what we're looking at. That one is not set up how we want it. It does not have the trash pump on the back like we were looking at. The other issue is it's located in Texas. So that would add cost of going to look at it, and then it would have to be shipped up here. So I don't think that's quite the best idea to do. I reached out to my supplier they were looking at for the new one. They had a used one come up, which is set up how we need. It's a 2022. It's got the pump on the back, and that came in at $400,000. And then we have the new one, which I'd recommended before. And the lease options are still good with that, the 4-year and the 5-year. 5-year has the balloon payment at the end. So.
The used one, the second one does what you want it to do, right?
Yes. Yep. That one was set up pretty close to what we were looking at anyways. So.
How many
It's
hours?
got a Western Star.
The hours on it were actually quite low. Hopefully I printed that off.
22,000.
We were actually pretty impressed with the hours on it. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Chassis miles, it has 18,980 miles, and the hours are at just under 2,000 hours. So really, that was pretty impressive for one being used and being 3 years old. So
Yeah.
that's not a terrible option to go with.
Plus it's got a Western Star body, so you can't go wrong with a
Yeah.
Western Star.
I've not had a lot of experience, but
Craig, did you look into whether it could be financed?
There's no option for that to finance that. We'd have to pay cash for it. Unless we included it in like a bond or something like that, but even that, I wouldn't recommend putting equipment in a bond or anything like that. You know, I think we'd be better off just paying cash for it. And, you know, like we talked about before, we can use multiple streams of funds for that. So, you know, sewer, water, major street, local street, so we can blend a lot of different funds to pay for the Vector. However you choose to go about it, we've got ample savings to be able to make that happen.
I did the math on the used one, both used ones actually, and they're straight up payments, right? But if we did find a way to finance it. I think after delivery and so on and so forth, I think you're still, that 400,000 doesn't include any other like prep fees or anything else, or is it just
No.
right out the door, right?
That's right out the door. The Eco, the 2022 Eco comes with a 6-month warranty. There's still, I believe, 3 years left on the debris body. And then there was another couple years on, I believe it was the blower. See if I can find it that as well. I printed it off. But yeah, they came with limited warranties that were still available from the new purchase when they bought it. I didn't print that one off. So there's a little bit of warranty stuff on it, but we'll be done with all that within like 2 years on that one.
Yeah.
So.
Do we know who had it before?
I reached out, it was with some kind of rental company that had it and they're just updating their fleet. So.
Wow. All of a sudden didn't seem like a great idea though. I was
Well,
actually really
coming from a rental company in that low of hours, it was not terrible, but yeah, it came from a rental.
Would you need to make any modifications to it
or nope.
repairs or?
No, we should be able to hop right in that one and take off, so.
I think the price difference is that we have a brand new machine for $170,000 more. I know that seems like a lot of money, but I think in the end, when you think about the difference long-term for capital,
right,
a capital expense,
yeah,
we have a full warranty. We can use it and care for it from scratch.
Yep.
Which I trust you and your team
Oh,
far before I would trust anybody that has rented it.
right.
Because they probably use it like they stole it. So I mean, in discussion, I would be curious as to what your thoughts are between new versus the used one.
I think it's interesting that our current one was 11 years old when we got it. And we've used it for 6-7 years successfully. This is
Kind of
years old.
successfully. It's kind of falling apart though.
Pardon me?
It's kind of falling apart.
Oh, yeah, I don't question that we need a new one. But the idea that, that one is 16 years old and the one that we're looking at used is only 3 or 4 years old.
Right.
So it sounds like it's got quite a bit of life in it.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I can't say yes or no.
Do we know what we paid for the one that you're currently using?
I think it was around 130, I think, is what they paid for it, so.
That's like $2015. When was it purchased? 2011, right?
2011.
No, it's an 08, they
Oh,
purchased that in
2019.
19.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
But now say the person who is now selling the used one bought it for 577 and now 4 years later is able to get 400,000 selling it to someone else. That's a pretty good return.
I
So
don't
having the use
know.
of it for 4
So
years.
That's
the
what
difference.
they're getting, that's what that company is
it's the
selling it
difference between
for, so
going
they
to the
probably
dealer.
sold it for less than that, most likely on a trade-in or something, it's probably.
Yeah, like a
happened.
used car.
Yeah.
But so theoretically, if you were to sell it on your own after 4 years, you'd get close to that amount of money.
Yeah, if you look at
Couldn't be bad.
the Vector one, that's basically what they're doing, is they put it on an auction site, and that's what they're asking for it, so. But it's still sitting there, and I've seen it a couple different times, and it hasn't moved yet, so.
On this particular case, I'm in favor of the new one.
What are the downsides if we go with used?
Just like anytime you buy anything else used, I mean, you don't know how it was treated, how it was used, wear and tear. You may get a good one, like we bought with the last one, or you may get one that's not. It's one of those guessing games. There's no real way to tell. I mean, we can hire some mechanic to come in and take a look at it and give us his best opinion on it.
But then the company that's selling it, they had a pretty extensive checklist.
Yeah, so yeah,
They just
the other one from Frederickson, they go through all that before they sell it. The other used one, like I said, it's on an auction site, so I don't know
I
who's gone through it.
I don't think I don't like the one in Texas.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to send me on a vacation to Texas to look at it.
I mean, I think,
You have to drive it
We all agree
back.
Texas.
Well, we can't drive it back.
and I think Sparta ended up getting theirs from like Pennsylvania or something.
Yeah.
So it's not like these things are just growing on trees. It's,
Yeah.
they're highly specialized
Yeah.
devices.
Yeah, and the one in Texas, we wouldn't be able to drive it back because we don't have interstate licenses. We're all intrastate, so we can't drive out of the state of Michigan.
Yeah.
That was such a good option.
Is there any way to get the price of the $577,000 one down? Are there things on there that we don't really need?
I ran it pretty thin on the options, so, I mean, probably not, because then you're talking lighting. Like I said, I went pretty minimal on the options that we needed to use, so, and if we did, it's gonna be a couple grand here and there, so.
Does the used one have any bells and whistles that you didn't ask for on the first one?
What's that?
Does this used one have maybe a few other items that you didn't ask for on the new version? that would be
Nope,
nice
I
to
talked
have?
to my salesman and he said it's set up pretty much identical as to what we were looking at. It's just a couple years older, so.
If we go used, it's paid in full. I don't think there's financing options as you stated, correct?
No, not unless we.
So we're, albeit I don't know if there's any value in financing, and I would love to hear your opinions on that because it's extremely expensive to finance this thing. Both of those options are really over the top, I think, in terms of just the financing it would cost more than if we just bought the new one. Straight up.
I think we
And then when we're
figured
buying it-
out with the 4 year, you'd end up paying almost 150 or 200,000 more. And then the 5 year put it at like 750, all said and done.
So, I mean, I think we're really talking about what I think the real conversation is here. We're talking about $177,000 between a new one and
4 years.
the 4 years old one.
So it's $177,000 worth 4 years.
Right.
That's really what you're trying to measure.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously
Kind of
everybody,
a toss-up.
it's,
Between the four funds, it'd be a little less than $150,000 per fund.
per fund.
Mhm. For the new one, obviously the used one would be about 100 each, but.
And another way we could look at this too is depending on the timeline of when we want to look at replacing and planning ahead, depending on the timeline, you may get that back towards the next one as well. So you'd almost get a return. You basically get it back at that point.
I think we had on the updated CIP, we're looking at like 7 years out or something like that.
Yeah.
You talking about the new one or the?
Yeah, if you went with the new one and then you do a timeline of replacing. Because the idea is you could, in a sense, kind of leapfrog some of this money towards the new one. So that way you're gonna get that money back and you're gonna pay the 400,000, I'm just throwing numbers out, for a new one instead of the full 77. Because you're getting money back off the one that we're selling.
And what do you, and what do you think we'll get for the current one that we currently have?
25,000.
So it's negligible.
I think we're
I've had three,
I think we're optimistic here.
I had 3 of them tell me that that's all I'm gonna get out of it. But
And that's a
we-
2008, right? You said?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think if we buy the new one that doesn't have the trade-in option, I think we'd be better off to just auction that one off, because we'd probably get a little bit better if we just auction it off.
Mm.
I mean, we might get another 5 to 10 out of it. We may get more,
Mhm.
but
When was the other one, we go new route, when would it be available?
they said at the last council meeting I presented at, I could have had it in September. So that may be the same. It may have got pushed back a little bit. So they had some available and pretty much ready to go. So realistically, with the new one, I could have it within a month or 2.
Oh, wow.
So like you talked about last time, Kevin, that, when you made the comment about, well, it's $200,000 difference could do, what can we do for $177,000?
Paper road.
Mm.
I'm just saying. That's true. I also, you know, in certain circumstances and and this is what we talked about the last time is the difference is, I mean, if it was $300,000 and it was set up or $200,000 and set up exactly the same, but man, the price is so close between a 200,000, my expectation was that these were gonna be like 250,000, honestly.
Right. Once you get to about anything before 2020, you get closer to that 300 mark, but what I have seen, it's used and abused. I mean, they just looked used and abused. Wore out parts, seats are ripped up. You can't even read some of the numbers in the dials because they're just so used. Dents in the water tanks, which eventually turn to leaks, and then you're replacing tanks. So
We would adjust the expectation on a CIP too, if you chose to go the used route. So, you know, the 7-year is, you know, new, you know, every 7 years, a new run and trade in and things like that. So if we're looking used, you know, we're probably looking at 4 or 5 years maybe.
Right.
As compared to 7 years expectation to get out
or
of it.
you
So-
run it till you start having
Or
the
you run it
issues
right till the
again,
wheels
where you're
fall
just
off.
dumping a bunch
Yeah.
of money into it anyways.
Right.
So
And then you get $25,000.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's another option. I mean, we could always push it out on the CIP even longer, you know, depending on what council chooses to do.
I mean, I would really like to get consensus on whether or not we're interested in the used or the new one at this stage. I mean, I think everybody has an opinion already, so I'm just kind of curious as to where we would land.
I think depreciated value wise, the newer one makes more sense.
Yeah.
Not necessarily dollar for dollar, but if you take into account the warranty and what that brings in value, the depreciated value of a brand new one is better than, right? So if you got 16 years out of it, you're basically $36,000 a year, right? So you're going to be better off, in my opinion, getting the new one, knowing what you have, wearing out the longevity of whatever warranties you have on it versus the unknown of somebody who had no business using that thing, wearing it out, giving it back to the rental company and having to spend money to repair it, right?
Right.
So if it were looked at as a depreciated asset, I would say you'd buy new.
Well, hearing that, I don't know why we wouldn't buy new. Putting a number to it at 36,000 a year, that just, I mean, that just doesn't make sense to do
And
something.
sorry to interrupt, but with equipment, we should be looking at these as depreciated
Yeah.
things instead of just equipment.
Cost of
Going into the
ownership,
ground.
it's just the cost of ownership annually and spreading that, amortizing it out. Because it's a forever expense. We're always gonna have one, right?
Well, and in this particular piece of equipment, I know that I would be extremely unhappy if the sewer system was coming up in my basement because because it's happened before because of a tree. So I know that it's pretty awful when things aren't going down the pipes the right way. Just to not have to worry about whether we can service the community because of, you know, potential maintenance issues. I would feel more comfortable with a new truck.
And I think with the implementation of the service of all of our equipment that you've put into place, I definitely think start with a new one here. And when it's time to trade in, he'll have great value still.
But, sorry, I'd like to add one more thing. Just from the history of this town, kicking the can down the road is something that we have done a lot. And to start at a good base point and then say, hey, we're not gonna kick the can down the road, we're gonna plan ahead so that when we come to the can, we can address it properly. That also is something that I feel like is beneficial for the community in the long run.
And that's something I'm trying to do with everything that we have.
Yeah.
So.
That's why you have a big allowance.
Yeah, I was leaning more towards a used to a couple of the numbers and, the other thing about the rental being from a rental company, you also gotta remember, it's not a rental car. It's not somebody it's, I'm not gonna call that place up and use it. You're right, they're not gonna care for it as great as you if you owned it, but still, the people who would rent that would know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna rent that $600,000 piece of equipment. Anyway, but the other numbers the new ones make more sense.
Yeah, I of course was leaning towards the used because I don't like to spend money. And it felt like the current actor that we have right now has been used for a very long time and, you know, apparently these live for longer than a car. But I can live with a new if that's what we decide.
We have consensus. It almost doesn't even matter. I think everybody knows what I want anyway, so.
I will say though, we asked you to come back with used options and you did that. So it's good kudos for that. And I thought they'd come in at half of what a new would be.
Yeah.
And I certainly would have landed much closer to where you seem to have been leaning, but I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah, like I said, everything that I seen, because I went in with the window you guys gave me, and I even looked a little bit older. And like I said, once you get past anything that's older than 20, they were rough.
Yeah.
They were extremely rough, and they were still $350, $325, and it seemed, in my opinion, just a waste of money. So
Yeah, it's, again, this is a kind of a forever device. It's gonna cost us money no matter what in depreciation or whatever, and I think it's pretty close. I think both of those, both the used and the new, cost the same.
Yeah.
So, we just have to, it just has a longer tail. All right, well, I mean, the last question I have to ask, and that is, consensus on paying in full or financing. There are two financing options, both of which are roughly an additional between $100,000 and $160,000 to finance.
I will say, if you tell me you're gonna finance it, then I'd switch my vote
To
to
used.
buying used.
Yeah.
Because then we're paying half
Yes.
of what it would be,
Yeah.
which is where I would want to be if we were gonna buy used.
Yeah.
So I'm hard no against any financing.
I agree.
But
For
that
sure.
was easy. Yeah, I'm glad that we did that. All right, so I think we have consensus on new, and I think we have a consensus on just doing whatever magic fund thing that you're gonna do with
Yep.
taking it from multiple funds.
Mhm.
And I just need a motion, to be honest.
You have the good motion in front of you, sir. Not that you want to make it, but you do have the good motion in front of
I
you.
will take the motion.
Does it
I will do the
includes the
motion.
cost?
Thank you. Yeah, I will have the honor. Motion to purchase from Frederickson Supply the 2026 Sewer Equipment Company of America 900 ECU 12-yard combination sewer cleaner at a cost of $577,569.22.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Any further discussion? Could I have a roll call, please?
Certainly. Robert Bishop,
Aye.
John Osterban,
Aye.
Patrick Hilton,
Aye.
Susan Shannon,
Aye.
Sandra Wake,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Motion carries.
Do you
Uh,
feel like a kid on Christmas?
I'll have the guys fill out thank you cards.
Yes. And I was just gonna add, Craig, make sure that he gets a box of chamois for Christmas, so he can start wiping that thing down.
Oh, don't worry, there's gonna be a long checklist, whatever they gotta do with that thing, so.
It'd be nice not to have to turn the lights on with a pair of vice grips.
Wow. that's
Amazing.
bad, Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thanks for the work you did, for real.
Yes.
Greatly appreciated.
Whatever it takes.
You got it. Mr. Powers, welcome back.
Thank you. So the motion before you is to approve the amended DDA bylaws. There are a handful of changes in here. Some are related to transitions in board structure. You'll note that some of this gives clarity in regards to, the committee structure, appointment processes, so forth. Any questions, comments, concerns, happy to address. The DDA board did review this at their last meeting and is recommending it to the council for approval.
So an executive director, is that ever, have we ever had one?
So the reason this language is listed in there relates to the Main Street program primarily,
It is it's window dressing to align with their program. I'll make a motion to approve the amended Downtown Development Authority bylaws as presented.
Support.
I believe we need a roll call, please.
Sandra Wake,
Aye.
Patrick Hilton,
Aye.
John Osterbaum,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Susan Shannon,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Powers. You're a saint for waiting this long.
Have you changed your mind?
You're in the thick of it now.
This is what it's all about, bud.
Definitely longer than normal. We loaded up Kevin's meeting because he was gone last meeting, so
This is the payment I get for
you can thank him for going to vacation. Go Trojans, by the way, first game Thursday, team down south that likes to run the wing tee. We need to beat them in order to have a chance at the playoffs, so start with that.
Riverbank
Trustee
Music
appointment.
Night.
What's that?
It's Riverbank Music Night.
It's also Riverbank Music Night. So if
Yes.
you prefer that, I won't be here, but
It's a lot of popsicles to give away.
a lot of
That's nice.
popsicles to still get away, give
Many
away.
popsicles.
Yes. We have a vacancy. We had one application for said vacancy. Mr. Nick Hunter is here. If you have any chance to meet him, he's there. Hopefully you had a chance to review the interview. All of you interviewed the previous time. So you have a couple options. You can appoint him for the balance of the term that expires December 1st, which if you were to choose to run again, would have to run as a write-in candidate. Or you can leave it vacant till that time, or however you want to do.
The question I have about the write-in option is, it's impossible for him to go to the township and can he still do that? As
You can
a
do write-in. You can't do petitions.
He just
Right.
can't do petition,
Yes.
okay.
Right, he has to
sorry.
register as a write-in candidate,
I got you.
which Mr.
I had to do
Hilton
Mhm.
had to do that because he was late, right?
it. Was-
Yeah.
was.
We
Somebody
discussed-
promised they were gonna drop something off and didn't, and then yeah. So,
Better get 15 votes, pal.
You can explain how to
okay.
do it.
Okay. Okay, but I just wanted to get clarity on that.
Yep, so it'd be write-in for the 4-year term. I think right now we have registered for a 2-year term,
Mhm.
registered for a 4-year term, and then write-in for a 4-year, and then he would have to write in for 4.
And there'd still be one more 4-year
So
spot.
it'd be one more 4-year spot.
So that would be the only issue. If 6 people did a write-in, 3 win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the appointment of Mr. Nick Hunter as a Village of Middleville Council trustee to fill the remainder of the term expiring December 1st, 2026.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Any further discussion?
thanks for applying again.
Persistence paid off.
we did clarify too that you can stay on the Housing Commission. The attorney said you can stay.
Oh, good. I was
If you
gonna ask
choose to,
about that.
yes, you can
Okay.
stay there. because I know they're down people too, so you are able to stay there.
Okay, good,
good.
I don't want to.
You can't for some other things, but apparently Housing Commission you can. So,
I need a roll call, please.
Susan Shannon,
Aye.
Sandra Wake,
Hi.
John Osterban,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Patrick Hilton,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Hunter. Thank you for your, for serving.
Yes.
We'll get all of these in the orientation.
Okay.
Use the software.
So did you catch that too? Your first meeting, you gotta come early for a budget meeting
Yeah.
beforehand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your first one's gonna be about 4 hours. How's that?
I feel like trying to talk him out of it before he
Yeah,
starts.
right.
You're already
Great.
committed, too late.
I actually have a technical follow-up question that might need to be looked into.
Sure.
If he's serving on the Housing Commission, do we still need me to be the liaison there?
It's up to the next item actually on the agenda, is you can discuss that then.
Which I have a strong opinion about.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was even
Yeah.
possible.
It is possible, you could still serve as a non-voting member.
Um,
Whereas he'd be serving as a voting member because he was appointed by the village council.
the only he's sitting here, so I'm gonna just engage with you. Mr. Baldry was on 3 committees. I have to assume that you don't know which ones those were. Probably don't know much about them. And before we appoint people to replace him, I think it would be in bad form if we just voluntold him that he was gonna take Mr. Baldry's committee seats. I think it might be nice to have a conversation amongst ourselves, and maybe we may wanna switch things up, at which time I would like to include Mr. Hunter in those conversations if possible. So I'm doing an audible on this particular item and getting consensus that we do table this until the next
Don't
meeting.
say table.
We can just don't take any action. We can,
I'm gonna just say not to take action then. Apparently that is some dangerous words that I'm saying, so I want to avoid
Don't say
them.
just
table.
makes a lot more work for us,
Okay,
that's all.
very good. Then we're just gonna, we're gonna skip this and not do anything.
There
with
you
it.
go.
Action
Taking no
Hey,
action.
Doug already left. I was gonna say, I don't know if you wait, that means the planning commission goes another month without a council rep to it. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but I don't know if you want to fill that one potentially, so you do have a council rep to planning commission at the next meeting.
When is that?
Entirely up to you, but their next meeting is the 1st. I don't know what their agenda looks like to know that, oh my goodness, you need a council person there to vote. I can't tell you what that is, but they had no council rep last month. Or did they? I can't remember if Steve went last month. He should have still been on, but I can't remember if he went. Yeesh.
I'm not a liaison on any committee, so
Would you like to fill in for Mr. Baldry on the planning commission?
I could do that.
All right, well, until we permanently assign somebody, how does that sound?
You can wait.
Yeah.
You can wait. I'm just saying, I didn't know if you wanted to fill that one prior to. You don't have to. I'm just letting you know.
She's ruddering the ship here, and I appreciate her for that. Do you want to be permanently
You can
assigned?
wait.
If you're okay with that, I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
I'm totally fine. I think it's, I mean, that's a fantastic board to be part of, unless there's other.
It's a
interest in
monthly
it.
meeting, so you would be at a monthly meeting. And I don't think you're allowed to get paid for that.
Nope.
Okay. Well, I shouldn't say not allowed to. It's part of what you already do.
Yeah, the
So
council.
You guys don't get paid for any committees.
Yep.
So there would be an additional meeting.
Yeah, I'm the only one, I think, who's not doing anything, so it seems fair.
But we really do need to rework this committee assignment thing, don't we? All right, very good. You know, in light of recent developments, I'm not going to push this off. I would like to assign Sue to the planning commission as trustee liaison. And the rest we're gonna discuss openly.
You need a second and a vote.
Yes, please.
I'll second that.
We have a motion with support. Do we need a roll call?
Nope, you're fine. Roll
Right.
call's open.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
And then I just want to clarify for my purposes for the September, the June, July, September. So the September 8 meeting, you want committee assignments on that agenda again?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right.
And then I would encourage all of those present to see their assignments and if they are interested in.
I can send this out to everybody so they know who's where.
Yeah, that would be helpful. And
Okay.
then if there's something that you're interested in, please, by all means, raise your hand if you are interested in doing something different or if
Oh.
you haven't been assigned enough. All right, moving on to boards and commissions, which were in your packet. Drafts minutes for the DDA meeting as of August 5th. Draft minutes for the planning commission meeting of August 5th as well. Informational items and correspondence are also found in there.
Can I interrupt one
For
second?
$5, you can talk.
Oh, no, I don't have any money. I just want to say, I know usually we just fly by informational correspondence.
Yes.
Those ones in there are actually conferences that you may want to sign up for. Through the Leadership Area County is their full cohort that starts in January.
Which would count as training, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Forge the Future conference is just a 1 day. I will answer any questions about either one of those and vouch for all of them.
Because you serve on the board for leadership.
Yeah, I'm on the board for LBC. So.
A little bias there.
Yeah,
glad
a little
that
bit
you-
of bias there.
I'm glad you didn't let us skate through those.
No, well, I mean, they're all open registrations right now, so if you want to go, we'd want to get on that is all.
I have to check my schedule for those.
Before September 18th, if you want to save the village a little money.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, opening the floor to public comment. Any takers? Hearing none. Final council comment? We'll start at this end.
My neighbors are very happy that the clock works again.
Mm.
So thanks to whoever fixed that.
So are we.
Yes.
Doug and Eric Schaefer from the township really took a hold of that and made it happen. So
That was wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
I
nice to
think,
get.
I
kudos.
think there might be a story coming in the paper soon about that.
Oh,
too, so.
nice.
I didn't even notice.
There, I wrote it. Yeah, that clock, sorry. No, that's the one. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. So do I.
I don't know, I appreciate the sign for railroad, that, the street project.
Mm-hmm.
We should do more of that, so
Mhm.
people know where their tax money is going,
Mhm.
if that was the purpose.
That's exactly what
We
it was
haven't, we
for.
haven't done that before, right? Or-
We have not.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, because they're always saying, what are my tax dollars going for? And I don't think, I still believe there's not that many people look at our meetings, talk about our meetings. I mean, I don't know how we advertise. We just spent $577,000 on a machine, but maybe talk about the sewer, you know?
Yeah, let's put a poster on the new vac.
Yeah, you know, but
Right. Put in the parade is what we really should do.
Oh, yeah.
We're not sitting on doing nothing with our tax money. I mean, so I think that's cool.
There are a fair amount of people who watch our YouTubes.
Is there? Okay.
I think that's a great point. I was actually, when I drove by it, actually I walked by it and I was like, oh, wow. Just like in the big city. Look at us go. Mr. Hilton.
I had a similar reaction, but I didn't think to bring it up, but I always like to see that kind of stuff. So I don't have anything. I spoke enough.
I also had a similar reaction, but didn't think to bring it up. So I'm glad someone did. I don't have anything.
And I apologize for not noticing the clock was accurate.
Oh, I do have one more thing. I have not had a chance to look at the bike pump.
Oh,
yet.
okay.
So I'm planning on doing that this week though.
Very good. Thank you.
I'm glad that we were able to find a time machine, go back into 1999 and find a Palm Pilot that runs that clock. That was exciting. It was a great that was a great find, and honestly, far more the technology that runs that clock is a little bit shocking. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was just, throw a couple of AA batteries in it and it was gonna work, but
Plug it in,
silly
right?
me, we had to go find a device that was like completely
Obsolete in
sunset
2010.
for 12 years. Like you can't even find one anywhere.
So what happens when that dies?
I think we've circumvented it, or at least we have a backup plan at some point.
You replace the guts.
Yeah.
Which is about 17,000 is what was quoted.
Holy heavens, okay.
Yeah, it didn't, and it turned out not to be
Right.
anywhere in the.
No,
order.
because we didn't replace the guts, but if we had to, it'd be a lot.
We decided to just plug the Palm
Just-
Pilot in.
Scour the eBay for every year of Palm Pilot and just have them all just sitting there.
For real, it's about that silly, by the way. I just want to say.
We have to have Doug smuggle a couple back from India when he comes back from visiting his in-laws.
They're mainstream
Oh,
over
sorry.
there. All right, so
Sorry.
anyway, nothing other than that, but and again, I'm super excited about the quads being down. I think the progress on Railroad Street is really exciting, and man, I am so thankful for the work that was put into that grant, and that we're gonna, and while it is no promise of funding, this was a huge milestone. So I'm very excited about the bridges on the Paul Henry Trail. So great. This was a great meeting, even though we had to wait.
Of course, the
2
next
hours.
thing is no one can use the trail for how long while bridges are being replaced?
Well, it'll be just a construction season.
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't be a full one, so
Yeah.
then if we get it bid, then we get a contractor, then we can order it, things take a while, but then we'll make sure the bridges are here and everything's here, and then they can get to work on it.
Yeah.
We have two ends, so.
Right, and that's two
there's
ends,
still
right,
a
yeah, so
trail.
they'll be able to,
Yeah.
people can.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's options.
That's-
There's options.
We can still park at McCann and go towards that town down south to
Irving Road.
watch
And all we
Middle
need is a
Beat.
porta potty out there.
There you go. All right, with that, I believe a motion is in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Eating me.
Aye. All those opposed?
No, you
Motion
can-
carries. Meeting adjourned.
Are you? Hudsonville's taking, oh, that's gonna be a good game.
My family donated the